All right, I am here in Washington, D.C., and check out this view. We've got the Lincoln Memorial down at the end of the reflecting pond, and then the Washington Monument. I had no idea how huge everything in Washington, D.C. was. This is my first time here. Also, it is 95 degrees and incredibly humid. So this is probably the most humid, muggy place we've been, but it has been incredible to see all of these sites. But you're not here for that. That is on our family channel. You are here for Medicare. So let's talk about how Medicare works in Washington, D.C. Now, Washington, D.C. is unique because you have a lot of federal employees here. Let's start with the supplement plan side of the conversation first. Nationally, if you were to look for a supplement plan and you were a 65-year-old, the average cost is about $150 per month. But here in Washington, D.C., for a Plan G, it's $130 per month. Nationally, if you're looking for a supplement plan N, the average is $120 per month. Here in Washington, D.C., it's $105 per month. So it's lower than the national averages. Part of this is because you have attained age plans here in Washington, D.C. These are based on the age that you have attained. So let's say I go on Medicare at 67 years old, I get a supplement plan. Well, when I turn 68, I've attained a new age, and my supplement plan is going to see a little bit of a bump because of my birthday. We sarcastically refer to this as your happy birthday increase. In addition to that, you could see an increase just because of rising healthcare costs and inflation that insurance companies just do. With attained age, you could see 2 increases a year. Now, in addition to these already lower than average costs here in Washington, D.C., there are insurance companies that offer discounts based off of a few things. So one of them would be a household discount. If you have somebody in your household who is insured with the same insurance company on a supplement plan, then there are insurance companies who are willing to give discounts for that. So for example, let's say me and my wife are on a supplement plan with a certain insurance company, then we're both going to get what's called a household discount. Another discount is called a wearable discount. So if you're willing to wear a smartwatch like a Garmin, a Fitbit, an iWatch, and then sync that with the insurance company, then they can see that you're exercising and that you're active. They're willing to give you discounts for that. Finally, there's a discount if you're willing to pay your premiums all up front for the year rather than month to month. It's called an annual discount. Now, not all insurance companies are willing to give these discounts, which is why we always recommend you use an agent who's licensed and familiar with where you live. Even if it's not us, just use an agent. It will never cost you anything, and they'll help compare plans for you, find plans that have the rates that you need and potential discounts. Now, we always look at the supplement plan penetration rate, and across the United States, the average is 21%. Here in Washington, D.C., it is 12.4%. You're the 4th lowest in terms of supplement plan penetration rate. This isn't me saying you shouldn't look at them. Those are just the numbers here in Washington, D.C. You have fewer people who are considering or using a Medicare supplement plan. Let's wrap up the supplement plan section and talk about those who are pre-65. So you're qualifying for Medicare because you're disabled, you have ESRD, end-stage renal disease, or ALS, commonly known as Lou Gehrig's disease. If this is the case in most states, you either do not have supplement plan options or you're very limited in the plans that you have, and they are typically really high. In Washington, D.C., you fall into that category. You really don't have options for pre-65 supplement plans here. What you're going to be looking at is either the original Medicare only, an Advantage plan, or if you are employed, you're coordinating with your employer insurance, whether that's your own or a spouse's employer. Now let's switch over to the Advantage plan side of the conversation. You're following all the same standard rules here from an Advantage perspective, but there aren't a lot of Advantage plans here in Washington, D.C., so there aren't a lot to pick from. And then those that you do have, we look at the maximum out-of-pocket. So what is your maximum risk in a given year if everything were to go wrong? Once you hit that number, the insurance company will cover 100% of the approved charges. Now, nationally, the average maximum out-of-pocket is $5,000. Here in Washington, D.C., it's $6,300. So you're considerably higher than the national average. Again, this isn't average. There are plans that are higher, plans that are lower, but you aren't seeing a lot of people going on Advantage plans in general here in Washington, D.C. In fact, the national penetration rate for Advantage plans is 50%. Here in Washington, D.C., it is 36%, so considerably lower than the average. Again, you have a lot of government employees here. So if you notice, there's 36% and 12.5% for supplement plans, nowhere near 100%. In fact, it's less than 50%. So where's everybody else going? Well, if you're taking something like FEHB, TRICARE for Life, VA benefits, any sort of those government plans once you reach 65 and retire, those aren't really counting towards the Advantage and supplement conversation. So those who live here, that's what they're going with often. With Advantage plans, again, you're following the national rules. So to switch from an Advantage plan to a supplement plan, you're going to be going through medical underwriting. You'll answer medical questions. If you have poor health, then you either will be denied or you'll be charged higher rates. If you have good health, then that switch is no problem. Outside of that, there are some opportunities to switch with no medical underwriting. Now, there are two trial rights. The first is if you go on Medicare at 65, your 65th birthday, and you take an Advantage plan, you have 12 months to try that Advantage plan. And if within that 12 months you want to switch back to original Medicare and a supplement plan, you can do so without medical underwriting. Again, this is at your 65th birthday. The second trial right is not at your 65th birthday, it's whenever you first go on Medicare. So even if you're 67, 70, and you first go on Medicare and you first pick a supplement plan, if at any time in the future you want to try out an Advantage plan, you can switch off of your supplement plan onto an Advantage plan, and then you have a 12-month trial right to try it out, and then if you don't like it, you can switch back to your supplement plan in original Medicare with no medical underwriting. Outside of that, unless you have a special election period, common ones are you're moving, so if you move outside your coverage area, or another one is if the Advantage plan removes its plan from your area, then you can get another plan without medical underwriting, or you could go back to original Medicare, and a supplement plan without medical underwriting. But outside of that, you're looking at medical underwriting if you're wanting to switch back to original Medicare and a supplement plan. All right, I like to leave secret keywords at the end of my videos just to show that you've made it this far and we can take the comments a little bit more seriously. I'm in Washington. This one's going to be a hot topic. It's a government center. So what I'm going to ask you for the secret keyword is, who is your favorite past president? So not including our current president or the one just before him, but who is your favorite past president? If you can throw that in the comments, then I'll know that you've made it this far. And this could be a fiery comment section. I'm not intending it to be that. It's just I don't know how you avoid a government program at a government center of the United States. So yeah, we'll just leave it at that. Thank you for making it this far. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. It means more than you know. Me and my family are going to go explore this amazing part of the United States a little bit more, and I will see you in the next video.